To make concern, it's a cool podcast. Listen with your friends or listen with your dog, man. Subscribe today or I'll be in your closet. To make concern, that's a really cool podcast. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of To Make Concern. We are back once again with another episode for y'all. If you've never seen the podcast before, my name is Will. I'm on the left. I bring up topics. Steven is on the right. He responds to whatever I throw at him, and together we make the duo of To Make Concern.
I'm the submissive one in this partnership.
Okay. That's how you describe it. All right, I get it. So welcome to the podcast, and I always have to start this out by asking, how are you today, Steven?
I died.
Okay, and that's the end of the episode. Goodbye.
This is the title of the episode, Steven Dies. Steven comes on the podcast to tell us that he died.
So, who's operating your body now?
That's not something that you need to be concerned with. I
Perfectly understandable. I get it. Okay. Sorry if I seem a little hyperactive. I just had dinner a few minutes ago, and I just had sweet tea, which is full of sugar, which gets me a little
turns him on.
Hyperactive. Yeah, because as we all know, sugar is essentially illegal cocaine.
I don't know what kind of jokes I'm making at this point.
Today's just gonna be one of those episodes. It's just gonna be one of those episodes. It's just gonna be an episode.
It's gonna be one of the episodes of all time.
Yeah. Okay. But now, for how are you today?
Well, I had a pretty normal day. Nothing really special happened.
I know something special that happened 2 days ago at the time of recording, and that was, of course, the solar eclipse.
Oh, yeah.
The first topic that I want to talk about.
So,
and I wanted to get your perspective on this because, from what I understand, you actually went to see, like, the full eclipse?
Yeah, I did. I traveled with my family. I skipped classes on Monday to go do it. Was 100% worth it.
That's what it's about. So describe what it's like. Like,
I mean, it's kind of hard to properly describe. You kind of have to see it to really understand it. But we'll put a short clip on the screen right now of a video that I took of it. Or either a picture or a video that I took of it while I was there. We'll put that on the screen at this time for you to see. So it basically looks something like that. It's basically just like so like the sun, right? All of it's bright and
I have no idea what you're talking about. What is the sun?
So it's this big bright thing in the sky, right? It's like why daytime is bright and not dark like nighttime, and why it gets so hot in the summertime. It's the reason for all of that.
I don't know. That sounds suspicious to me. I think that's just a propaganda that the government is selling.
This is the title of the episode. The sun is government propaganda.
I don't know what it is with me, but I always love making those jokes of just like, that's just what the government wants you to believe.
I mean, the government does want you to believe a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but it's just like, people say it so much, and mean it genuinely, that it's just funny using it just like as a blanket statement for like literally anything. But
yeah, so
I guess what I want to ask you, Steven, about the eclipse is like, how everything like goes dark?
Yeah, pretty much.
If I know correctly.
Yeah, pretty much.
It goes dark as soon as the eclipse happens.
Pretty much,
like
yeah.
That white ring that's around the sun. What would be your best analogy for what that white ring looks like?
So actually, yeah, hold on. Let me actually think of an analogy here. Um, okay, so imagine a ring light, right? Imagine you have a ring light. Imagine you turn the ring light. You're in a completely dark room, and you. This may or may not. I don't know. Uh, I'm trying to think of a good analogy.
Okay, you know what? I'll answer it for you. This it's this. I just sent it to you. It's a movie and it's a poster. And every time I see the eclipse, I always think of this poster with the little thing.
Let's see. The ring. I mean, yeah, it looks something like that, without like the glitchy effects that are used for.
Right.
Yeah, that's basically about what it looks like. Yeah.
I was doing this to test you to see if you would know this, but then I forgot something crucial, and that's the fact that
I don't know anything.
yes. So that was kind of, and I knew that as I was asking it, but I was like, well, I've already begun asking it, so I might as well continue asking it.
I've already started uttering the question, so I may as well not stop talking. And it would be pretty suspicious if I were to start asking a question and then just cut off mid sentence.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that was your experience, and as for me, back in Alabama, we didn't get the full eclipse. We only got like I'd say 80% coverage of the sun.
Yeah, as I understand, it basically made the sun like kind of crescent shaped and made it like get pretty dark.
It kind of looked like a drawing of the moon.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Crescent.
And like if you look at it, like even on the full eclipse, if you look at it like before it actually gets to the full eclipse, it basically looks like that. It's just a matter of it actually goes into the full eclipse where we were. Where it didn't do that down here.
Right. So, yeah, that was the eclipse, and here's one thing I want to also bring up. Now, I don't know if this was something that's just more prevalent this year, or if this is just something that's always been a thing, and I'm just now noticing it because this eclipse is happening when I'm like 20, as opposed to like several years ago back in middle school, where it's just like. All right, so here's what I want to ask you. Why is it that there were so many rapture conspiracies around this eclipse?
I don't know.
The eclipse was going to be the event of the rapture.
Yeah, I saw those as well, and I really don't know where the idea comes from. I think it's a combination of people are drawing from certain like past events that they are interpreting completely wrong. Like a lot of times people will go, one of the ones that my dad showed me in particular was that if you look at like the eclipses that have happened in the past over the United States, and they're only looking at the United States as well, not the whole world. But basically the paths of where the eclipses went would like make certain shapes. Like I think one of them was a cross or something like that. But they're saying like it's marking the spot where it's gonna happen, which doesn't really make any sense. And then I think it was also the fact that like people kind of believe that right now we're in like the end times, and that the world's gonna be ending soon because of like all the. I honestly don't know where the reasoning comes from, but there's people that say that.
I think it's just because of how everything so far has just kind of gone to shit.
Yeah,
basically.
Pretty much.
Just like coronavirus, political division, just a bunch of stuff going bad. Surely right now is the time that the rapture is going to happen.
Pretty much,
and it's going to happen on this day because there's going to be pretty lights in the sky. There's going to be a cool sun thing, so that must be a sign.
Yeah, that that pretty much sums it up, actually.
Yeah, it's just so weird to me. Just like, and this also reminds me.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that like where people get these notions, because like obviously we're like and like depending on your belief system, you may believe different things than we do, but I don't really want to start talking objectively because different people believe
Right.
different things. I don't want to start a war in the comments or anything.
But and I will also say, a few months ago, do you remember when all smartphones were essentially sending out like a test alert system,
Oh
like an
yeah,
EAS test that they were
yeah,
sending out, and everyone there was just like a bunch of people freaking out about this, thinking that this was going to be like end of times stuff. Like a bunch of conspiracies happened. It was just so stupid. Just
yeah.
like they're literally testing the system.
I think
What do
I
you
think
think
it's
is going to
because
happen?
people will make a conspiracy out of basically anything,
And
which
it
is
seems
which
like it's
is
just happening more and more now. Like I
yeah.
think there's just some people who are just getting more and more paranoid and are falling harder and harder for these conspiracies. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It's really hard to say because yeah, it's true that conspiracies are like not only more common now, but they also seem like a lot more far fetched now. Like people will come up with more crazy things now than they ever did before. And
And people are still believing them.
I really, it is really hard to say why it is like now specifically that that's happening and like how like it was never this bad in the past.
And like, of course, it happened in the past,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
feel like
obviously it
it might just be
happened.
one of those things where it's like there's just more coverage on it, and I feel like just a lot more people are open
Yeah,
about
and there's also the thing where
gullible about them being gullible, essentially.
there's also the thing where like we've gotten to a point where society is starting to like be more accepting, I think, of like believing like more stuff. Like we've kind of developed this idea in society of like you can kind of believe whatever you want, kind of thing. That didn't used to be as prevalent as it is now. And so I feel like people like because they think that they're less likely to get like pointed at and laughed at for coming up with these crazy theories, they're more encouraged to come up with them and try and share them and like get people to go along with them because we live in a day and age where telling someone that they're wrong is basically like telling them to go kill themselves.
We truly do live in a society, yes.
Yeah.
It's impossible to say that, like, say all this stuff, which is 100% true, but it's impossible to say it without saying the funny saying of we live in a society.
Yeah. Because because the fact is we live in a society. It's just that simple. There's no way around it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was just intending on talking about the eclipse, and all of a sudden we just go into we live in a society talk.
I mean, I blame the people who are coming up with all these conspiracies. So like, you know,
Yeah. And I will also, one more thing, and then we're going to move on, about the solar eclipse. And I'm sure this has always been a thing, but again, just more people, like, doing this. And it's just the people who will always, like, dare themselves and others to look at the eclipse without the protective glasses.
that I actually have
Like,
not heard of. Cause like I see all of the like news and stuff warning you like you're gonna make yourself go blind if you don't have the glasses, which is actually true. If you can actually make
yeah,
yourself go blind by
because you're
looking at the
still
sun.
looking at the sun.
Yeah, like
You're still
that's
looking
a
at the
thing you
sun.
can do. That's not like propaganda or fake news or anything. That is like a thing that can actually happen. But
And yet,
I've seen
and
like a lot of warnings out there. Like the news will be like, it's so cool, but you gotta have the glasses on to look at it. I've never heard of like people saying go look at it without the glasses on, which I'm sure people do. I
yeah,
just haven't like noticed it.
there's just a lot of people who I've just seen who like make these tweets and stuff. It's like I'm gonna look at it without the glasses, and I think there's this famous clip. I don't know if it's shit famous, but infamous clip of a football player OBJ. What was his name? Odell Beckham Jr. looking out into the sun, just like.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't look directly at the sun, kids. It's not good for you.
And it's just like other celebrities were also like tweeting wild stuff like that. Like I'm gonna look at the sun without the glasses, and it's just people who are just like essentially bragging about dare. And it's one thing for like kids to do that because like we all know kids are stupid.
Yeah.
But for grown ass adults who also endorse this is like
that does make me
just,
think of like
life.
one of the forms of propaganda that I did see a couple of times was people claiming that like the glasses were actually government propaganda. Like they want you to wear these for some insert reason here. Honestly, it could be anything.
The glasses will take over the mind, and it's just gonna be mind control.
Nah, some people probably genuinely thought that. That's the funny part.
Yeah, no. That's the thing about it. It's just like obviously you can't 100% trust the government and what they say, but at the same time, if you're falling for stuff like that, I think you just need to get a better grasp on like media literacy and also just don't. It's so easy to not.
Don't believe everything you see on the internet.
Exactly. And it's like stuff that's like feeding your paranoia over your distrust of the government. It's just like, ironically, in thinking you're being safe from being played, you're still ending up getting played.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's like, it's just like, just be smart and let's just all agree that taxes suck. Anyways, that's the end. We got political again. Oh man.
We got a little bit sidetracked.
A little bit. I hope y'all watching are liking this. Make sure you like and subscribe. And this episode is sponsored by my wallet. I'm gonna go through my credit cards right now.
Will be editing his credit card number on the screen right now for you to copy and do whatever you want with it. And obviously he has to do it now because I said so.
Yeah, like I said, right now, sugar just entered my body, and now I'm just kind of hyperactive. So it's just, I'm a little more bouncy and just like ugh. Today more.
I don't know if you look at your build, shall we say, you're probably bouncy all the time. If I had to guess. I'm sorry, that was a mean thing to say. I did not mean that.
Okay, see ya. Okay.
I'm sorry. Now I'm gonna be getting flamed in the comments for saying that.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone who's watching,
even though it was clearly a joke,
blame him for his derogatory statements about fat people.
Hey, I didn't say all. I didn't say all fat people. I'm talking about one fat person in particular. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right. Moving on from that. So on this podcast, some of y'all may know if you've watched previous episodes. I'm no stranger to talking about the state of YouTube and anything going on with it because I've been watching YouTube and like keeping up to date with what's happening on YouTube for a good while, practically all my life. But yeah.
Or since YouTube came out, since I believe YouTube came out after you were born, didn't it?
Yeah, I think YouTube started in 2005. And I think I was 8 years old when I made my first video, which would have been like 2011.
I think okay.
So
yeah, YouTube came out in 2005, I think it was.
Yes.
So see, I don't remember these things. I'm a little bit of a silly Billy.
I've given my take on YouTube comments, YouTube algorithm, certain type of YouTube videos, and one thing that is like more prevalent now that I want to talk about because I think it's interesting is the rise of green screen kids. Now,
Green screen
do you know what
kids.
do you know what I'm talking about when I say green
No,
screen?
I actually have never heard that
Green
term.
screen
I've
kids.
heard this. I've heard the term iPad kid, but not green screen kid.
Essentially, what these videos are, they're part of YouTube Shorts, and I think there's also on TikTok too. But I think this is also more on YouTube because of how more accessible. I mean, both apps are accessible, but like I feel like YouTube is slightly more accessible the way it's like formatted. But these shorts are essentially kids who are essentially re-uploading a short that someone else posted, but they use the green screen function to essentially have their face on the thing, and they just watch the thing just like
Oh yeah.
just during
Actually,
the entire thing.
I have seen that type of YouTube short. That shows up in my feed a lot.
And it's
Where
just
it's just like it's a
and it's
short
part of
and it's
the
like it's a great short, but it's just like somebody on the screen that's not they're not doing anything, they're not saying anything, they're just there.
yeah, and it's like there's other people, including like adults who also do this, but it's also just like a bunch of kids. And this is a very particular brand of content that always gets reacted to. And it's always just like it's not even that they have like a lying setup of them sitting down and watching. They're literally just like on their phone, probably like in bed or something, with like a single light source in the room, and they're just watching it. And because it's green screen, their face isn't like on top of the video. A lot of them are just like very tiny, so you have to like look to see like the actual green screen kid, but it's like they're there and it still counts as their video. And so because of this, a lot of people who make YouTube shorts have pointed out these kids and are like, like, we don't like these green screen kids. They're derivative and just it's super cringy essentially. And so I just wanted to bring all this up just to get your perspective on this, Steven, of how you feel about.
I mean,
It could, and it goes beyond that too of what you said earlier about people just reacting to shorts and like posting shorts of them reacting to something and them just watching it.
yeah.
Like we've talked about this before, but I just want to get your perspective on this in particular, especially with how in the past YouTube has like gotten in trouble with like the COPPA Act of like kids shouldn't even be on YouTube, and it's like they're still making accounts and they're still posting videos, and it's like the way YouTube works, and this is true with every social media platform, but they gather data from what you watch, and they essentially build a profile on you to see
Yeah.
what type of content you're more like you're more likely to watch, and that's essentially how the algorithm works. But YouTube got in trouble when you know some government officials came in and they were like, wait a minute, you're collecting data on children. That's illegal.
That's illegal.
So so now YouTube has this big thing where it's just like they don't want kids like making YouTube accounts and
Yeah, isn't it
they,
like
they,
isn't it like
they
13 plus, I think.
yeah, 13 plus. But it's like how kids like when they want to make an account and they're younger than that, they're gonna lie about their age.
Yeah,
Like
literally everybody
it's
does it all the
inevitable.
time, even on Discord. Because Discord, which for those of you who don't know, is the platform that we use for communication. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Discord is also 13 plus, but there's plenty of people on here who they will literally just tell you that they're like 11 or something like that. Like they didn't even read the
Oh
TOS.
yes, oh yes, it's everywhere, and there's a conversation to be had about kids being exposed to a lot of stuff that they shouldn't be exposed to, and how that's messing up future generations. But that's not the type of conversation I'm trying to have. What the conversation I think I'm just trying to have is just like when it comes to future content creators, and it's like should kids be able to allow these videos out? Because like let's say they are 13. like the age of like where they are able to have an account, like, is it helpful for them to like just post these videos of them reacting to shorts? Like, do you see it as just kind of harmless, or do you think there's actually some harm that could be in that?
I mean, I don't think it's really. I guess it depends on like the kind of shorts that they're posting about. But I mean, as long as it's nothing like I don't really know. I don't feel like it's
Right.
harmful to
I
them.
guess I guess I guess what I was trying to get at is the stigma that's against green screen kids. Because like anytime
I mean,
one of them
I don't
posts
really
a
I don't
video,
necessarily agree with that as like a form of content, but it's not necessarily harmful to like the kids themselves. It's more so I would say harmful to like the person who made the content, cuz like if you're seeing their content off of this green screen kid and not from them, like because I guess it depends on if they give credit as well, because I don't know if the kids are giving credit to like the original content creator or anything like that.
I think a lot of these YouTube shorts work where it's like it automatically links to the original,
Oh
if I remember
yeah.
correctly.
Let's see if it's doing
Some
that,
may
then
not.
yeah. Like it's lazy for sure. Like it's lazy
Right.
content, but at the same time, if they're just like kids, like possibly under 13 kids, not saying that I condone lying about your age to be on YouTube when you're less than 13, not saying that,
Right.
but if they are like young kids like that, then I mean, it's not like they're making any content that's more like, like better content. So,
Right.
but at that point, I would.
I guess a better way. I think more of what I was trying to get at was like kind of more observing how content creation is going now, and just like kind of again kind of a recent trend that I just like of just content that I just kind of wanted to comment on. But I think we made some good points,
Yeah,
and
I for it.
like I don't really know what the conclusion of this conversation was. It's just kind of like, yeah, they exist.
It was just like, is are green screen kids harmful? Are green screen kids
And
bad for the
like,
environment?
I guess it's just kind of like I don't know. This conversation was a lot more engaging to talk about in my head. I think it's just kind of like today's. It's been a weird episode. It's been a weird episode, but I hope y'all are still enjoying. Yeah. Uh, so so now what I want to do is I want to get into the main topic of the video, quote unquote, because this is the final topic, and it's kind of what I wanted Steven to be prepared for.
He gave me homework for this one.
Yes, I gave Steven homework, and so basically, what I wanted you to do was I wanted you to listen to a song, and that song is Bohemian. Hold on, sorry, Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm struggling with words today. I'm just gonna be honest. It's a song by Queen, and I assume you've listened to it.
Yeah. It's that I think I've actually heard parts of it before, but it's the one that's like, is this real life? Is this just fantasy? There's like it gets memed a lot.
Right. So what I wanted to do, this is one of my favorite songs. I'd say arguably ever, honestly. Like it's a cliche choice of like best song, but I genuinely love this song. And one of the things that I absolutely love about it, which is going to be the topic of this, uh, the frontman of Queen, Freddie Mercury, he said himself that the true meaning of this song is something that only he knows, and whatever meaning the song has, he basically is leaving it up to anyone who listens to it. So essentially, what he's saying is, the song has no real meaning, but it's just a song that you have to give meaning to. Now you have to interpret it and decide what it's about. And there's been tons of theories, tons of like people who are speculating what the song is actually about, and they're all very interesting. But for the purpose of this, I decided to ignore all of it, and I just want me and you to go through the lyrics, and I want us to create our own version of interpretation of this song. And it can be as silly as we want. We can take all these lyrics super literally. We could create a story with this. We could do whatever. That's what I want to do with you today, Stephen.
Okay.
We're going to read through these lyrics, and we're going to decide what is this song about. We're going to crack the code. What is this song about?
Okay.
Are you ready, Stephen?
Yeah, before we do that, though, I should probably actually pull up the lyrics, though, because one thing...
No, that's the thing. I literally messaged you.
Okay. Yeah, because the thing about me with listening to songs is, like, I usually pay more attention to the music than I do to the lyrics, and a lot of the time
Right.
I don't catch a lot of lyrics anyway.
And that's completely fair. But, like, for me, I've listened to this song so many times that eventually I did start picking up on the lyrics.
Yeah.
And, and I just learned about how this song doesn't really have an official meaning. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to read through these lyrics, and we're going to decide what is the song about. So, so here's these first few lyrics. Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality.
That's the part that is memed.
Yeah, that's the memeable song, the memeable part.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, judging based on these first two lyrics, I'm thinking kind of like someone questioning whether this is real life or fantasy.
Oh wow, where in the world could you have gathered that from? I genuinely do not see where in the world that notion could have possibly come from.
Like, someone questioning that, it sounds like someone who is, maybe stuck in a simulation. And this is kind of what we were talking about earlier.
That's plausible, I would say.
Before getting on the podcast, we were talking about simulations or something. I forgot exactly what it was about, but...
AI, I think. Like, robots are taking over.
Like, robots taking over. So, these first two lyrics establishes someone who they are questioning whether they are really in the moment or they're in a simulation. That's the first interpretation. Now, let's keep going. Open your eyes, look up to the skies, and see. So, earlier, what we talked about with the solar eclipse, when you open your eyes and look up to the sky.
Is just tying this into things that we talked about?
At this point, sure, yes. Here's the thing, though. Here's what's clever about this. Have you ever noticed how, like, look up to the sky and see? However, when we were talking about earlier about not looking into the sun, having to look away from the sun in order to experience the beauty of the sky. Could that sun be a metaphor for the hidden truth in America that we all don't want to look at or admit is happening? But because of that...
What an interpretation.
But yeah.
Well, okay, you also have to think about... Because, like, when was the song written, actually?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It takes place current day. This song is transcendent.
Okay.
About issues that weren't even a thing. That's what we're...
Okay, alright. Sure, why not?
When this was released, where they're from, it doesn't matter.
Because, like, a lot of the time, I'm actually... So, side note, I'm actually in a literature class in college right now, and I'm not saying that I, like, agree with everything in the class, because I kind of hate literature, but they talk about how, like, with literature, and this would also apply to other pieces of art, like songs, for example, generally the context of when, like, in what period they were written and in what context they were written plays a key role in interpreting what they're about. Usually.
And that's true. But in this case, I say that's stupid.
In this case, specifically.
Because, let me explain. And I want to jump forward a little bit. I promise we'll come back. But when we jump forward to the middle part, when they talk about like the musical style, it definitely feels a lot older than what the year the song was released would have you guess. Like it's definitely a lot more musical theater feel, and it's like the imagery that's like kind of brought on brings more of a feeling of like 1800s more than the whenever this song was released. I think it was like 1970s that this song first released. So so yeah, I think like Queen and Freddie Mercury, I think they themselves don't really consider this song to be part of whatever year this song came out in. But I could be wrong. But that's interesting to point out. But well, let's keep going. So
it's an interesting way to look at interpreting it.
Yeah. And also, this is kind of for fun. If we really wanted to do a genuine interpretation, then yes, that would be important. But we're just making a silly podcast episode. We're just going to claim that all this is about conspiracies, like what we talked about earlier. Like, let's look at this next line. After they say, open your eyes, look up to the skies and see. All this is the band singing, but then Freddie Mercury comes in and just sings, I'm just a poor boy, I need no sympathy. Because I'm easy come, easy go, little high, little low. Any way the wind blows me. Oh, wait, no. Any way the wind blows doesn't really matter to me.
Anything?
Don't pay attention to that misreading I just had. Please. Any way the wind blows doesn't really matter to me. So we're getting characterization of a character in the song. Of a poor boy who feels like he doesn't need sympathy. And he's just kind of like very pessimistic. He has a very pessimistic outview on life. And, any way that life takes him doesn't matter to him because in his mind, life ends the same for everybody. So I think that's the meaning of that. How about you? What do you think this first stanza of lyrics mean?
I think that seems plausible. It's like it doesn't really matter. Like he doesn't need sympathy from anybody. Yeah,
I think, yeah.
It kind of see. I think like him saying like it's someone who doesn't really care that much. Someone who like says that things don't matter. It's kind of reminiscent as someone who like is going through like a depression stage, and they're at the point where they're saying like what really matters anymore. Yes. It kind of gives off that kind of vibe.
And it also kind of gives,
especially if you look at it in the context of the first lines, where it's asking like if something is real.
Yeah, this could be interpreted as like a college student, or like someone fresh out of high school who doesn't know anything about the real world. They're asking, is this real life or is this fantasy?
Yeah.
And describing it as caught in a landslide. And no matter what, they can't escape from reality. And also, I'm just a poor boy because, as we all know, college students are always poor.
Yes, that is just a rule. To be a college student, you must be poor.
Supports our theory that this entire song is basically just talking about a college student. But then we get to that first verse, and this is where things get interesting. And so Freddie sings, Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Now, here's one thing I want to point out. There's supposed to be a comma after he said,
I was about to say.
And then he said, just killed a man, referring to himself. He has just killed a man. But people who are listening to this, unaware of how it's written, think that's referring to Mama, who just killed a man. Like, Mama just killed a man. I think that confusion is intentional to once again prove that the government doesn't want us to be coherent, think coherently.
The government doesn't want you to know.
Yeah.
That's just what the government wants you to think.
I'm going to have different theories that I'm going to, at the same time, contribute to. There's the one about this being about a college student who's just heading into life for the first time. And the second half, and the second theory that I'm also contributing to is this is somehow a radical statement on U.S. on the U.S. government.
Of course,
So,
because this song that was written in an irrelevant time period that will not tell me is about the U.S. government.
by England band. They're not even from the U.S. That's the funniest thing about that second theory. I'm struggling with words today. Y'all gotta forgive me. All right. And so, after that, he says, "Mama, life had just begun, but now I've gone and thrown it all away." So, these first four lyrics of the first verse of him describing killing a man and throwing his life away, what do you think that symbolizes in this song?
Okay, so hear me out. This is gonna sound a little crazy, but if we're talking about this, if we're going with this narrative of this song being about a broke college student who is having like an existential crisis, then if he's talking about killing someone, then I'm not saying that he could be talking about killing himself, but he could be making a metaphor about like the death of like himself inside. Maybe it's a little bit far fetched, but it does fit with the crazy narrative that we're trying to go for here.
So, and honestly, you know what? These next few lyrics kind of support that, where it's like, "Mama, didn't mean to make you cry. If I'm not back again this time tomorrow, carry on, as if nothing really matters." So, honestly, you could argue that this song is about suicide. It could very well. So let's go ahead and move on to this next part, where it kind of does support that it was like, "Too late, my time has come, sends shivers down my spine, body's aching all the time. Goodbye, everybody, I've got to go, gotta leave you all behind and face the truth." And then this next part where it's like, "Mama, I don't want to die, but sometimes wish I'd never been born at all." So, honestly, this whole
I think that kind of supports the theory. In all honesty.
But here's what I think. "Too late, my time has come, sends shivers down my spine, body's aching all the time. This is clearly a statement on vaccination."
Clearly. This song is about a broke college student having a midlife crisis while lamenting the U.S. government. That's what this is. That is the only possible correct way to interpret this.
So that's that. So you think the song is okay? So the entire song is just going to be about this, but then we get what we in the rap community would call a beat switch, where the entire tone of the song completely shifts, and then we have these next few lyrics. "I see a little silhouette of a man, Scaramouche, Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me." So, from that, what do you think this part of the song, is now talking about? Because we had a consistent narrative, and we're kind of going back to the first narrative with these next lyrics of "I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. He's just a poor boy from a poor family. Spare him his life from this monstrosity." Do you think this still relates to the college boy theory? Because it does mention poor family.
Okay, hear me out. Hear me out again. But
Okay.
if we analyze this, if we want to look at this in the context of our narrative, if we say so he's saying that he sees a little silhouette of a man. A silhouette of a man could be the remaining parts of a man that is not here anymore. So he could be referring to himself in that sense, as like saying that he's just a silhouette of himself. And then further down, if he's saying to spare his life from the monstrosity could be referring to life itself. He's saying life is, it's mean sometimes, it's not fun sometimes. Maybe he wants to
Mm-hmm.
be spared himself from it.
And then here's where the interesting part comes in. We're gonna go to the next few lyrics where it's like, "Easy come, easy go. Will you let me go? No, we will not let you go. 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 Never, never, never let me go. No, 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 no." So this is a very so we have two perspectives going, where Freddie is like, "Will you let me go?" And then the entire rest of the band is like, "No, we will not let you go." So we
No.
got these two perspectives going.
Alternate narrative. Freddie Mercury is not actually part of this band, and he's being held hostage and being forced to sing this song. just think about it for a second. Just think about it.
Okay.
We're trying to interpret this as wrongly as possible.
So, so this entire time, this song was a cry for help.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let's go back to the first verse then, with that context of maybe when he's talking about killing a man, maybe that's part of an unrelated incident that the band is using as blackmail to try to hold him hostage still, saying if he leaves, then this information goes out there. And so, Freddie's strategy here is to essentially confess, but in musical form, so that no one thinks that he's actually making a confession. After he makes his confession, he tries to bargain. he tries. He tries to bargain with the band mid-song, and the band simply replies, "But because they don't want anyone to suspect anything, they keep it in musical form."
So the entire audience just thinks that this is just part of the song. Meanwhile, they're literally arguing with each other.
Perfect theory. Yes.
Guys,
So,
I think we figured it out. I think we cracked the code.
hold on. Let's go through the rest of the song, where he says, "Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia, let me go. Beelzebub has the devil for his side for me, for me, for me." So that last note that he hits, part of that song, is him being tased to
Yes.
for
He's saying, "Mamma mia, let me go." He's telling the band to let him go, and then
yes.
he's saying whatever this is. I'm not sure.
Beelzebub has the devil per his side for me. So let's
So
look at this.
the meaning there could be anything, but if we want to look at it in the context of this last high note that he hits, is him being tased. Maybe they're wanting to avoid him saying this because they think it might reveal something that they don't want the audience to know. So what could that be?
Maybe the band is part of a they're part of a Satan worshiping group, and Freddy is trying to warn everyone, Beelzebub has a devil put aside for me. They're putting aside him for me. They're gonna sacrifice me. This is what this entire thing is.
They've captured him.
Ritual
They've captured him. They're using him as a sacrifice. So
yes,
they're forcing him to sing in this band as part of a sacrifice ritual.
So now let's look at the final part of the song, which is brief. He says, "So you think you can stone me and spit in my eye? So you think you can love me and leave me to die? Oh baby, can't do this to me, baby. Just gotta get out. Just gotta get right out of here."
So
like,
obviously, clearly, he is saying that he needs to escape this hostage situation.
Yes. I never understood this song. I kept thinking things, but it all makes sense. This is what he was clearly talking about.
It's all coming together now.
That's the title of this episode. Freddie Mercury was held hostage by the rest of Queen all this time, and we never even knew it.
Yes, this is perfect. This is literally the only correct interpretation of this song.
So in this part of the song, the tempo rises to reflect how, again, the band is once again trying to mask this as just part of the song. So they up the tempo, and then after he says these lines of trying to get out of here, the tempo slows down after another guitar solo, and after it all slows down, he continues to say, "Nothing really matters. Anyone can see. Nothing really matters. Nothing really matters to me."
So if we want to follow the hostage narrative and we want to use that new context, then instead of this, and from the beginning of the song where he's saying like nothing matters to him, and now in this ending part of the song where he's saying that nothing matters to him, instead of saying that it's a depressed college student, this could be someone who has been trapped with this band for a long time, trying desperately to escape but not able to, and he has resigned himself to the fact that nothing matters anymore. He has accepted the fact that he is stuck here. He's going to be sacrificed to the ritual. There's nothing he can do about it.
And after he says all that, the final few seconds of the song, you can hear a Chinese bong or something. I forgot what it's called, but like a little thing being hit. It's like the. And I think that singular sound is supposed to mask the ritual that takes place. Or no. It's the commencement sound of the ritual taking place.
Yes.
And so, after thinking of this, let's go back to the first verse where Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead. This entire theory brings new context. I think what this is Freddy is forced to confess that a part of his ritual is that he has to be sinful, and so being sinful means killing someone. So there was another sacrifice ritual being held for Freddy to kill someone so that his hands would be full of blood and he would be right for being a sacrificial ritual of sacrificing him in this sinful nature.
Right, of course.
Yes.
This is a perfect narrative.
The second part is him talking about him suffering from the repercussions of his actions. His body's aching all the time from this.
And maybe if he's saying his body is aching, perhaps the body could be a figurative symbol here. Maybe the body symbolizes something else, like a part of his soul, like his like, not his physical body, but his mental body. And he's saying
being held hostage.
Yeah, yes. He's aching from the fact that he's being held hostage and the fact that he was forced to kill somebody, and it's aching on like his conscience or something.
And this beginning part too, where he says, "I'm just a poor boy. I need no sympathy." That was a line he was forced to read to make sure nobody
So nobody would suspect anything. So nobody.
No one would suspect anything. Yes, we have cracked the code of this song.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have figured it out. This is the hidden meaning behind this song. The meaning that and even if we want to take this beyond the fourth wall and take it even beyond what is being conveyed in the song and take it into the real world, the original writer of the song saying that the meaning is something that only he knows and that there's not supposed to be any meaning to the song. Maybe the reason
cover up.
Maybe the reason that he's not telling us the meaning of the song is because he doesn't want people to find out about what happened.
No, the rest of the band doesn't want people to find out. So they're making Frey say all this.
Of course, because they're still holding him hostage. So
yes. It all makes sense. Anyone in the comments who want to tell us that if y'all want to tell us that this doesn't make sense, then y'all are just wrong. Just put it plainly.
The evidence is there. Like, how can you can't argue it? You can't argue with the evidence.
Yes. So I think this was a fulfilling end to the podcast. We uncovered a secret that no one else managed to figure out.
We are the first people in history to be able to figure this out.
Yes, at a time where it's already far too late, and Freddie Mercury has long been dead. So yeah.
But who cares? We figured it out. We can be proud of ourselves.
No disrespect to Freddie Mercury, by the way. You know, I love this song. I intend to get into more of the discography. I understand that Queen fans don't like it when people are like, "Oh yeah, I love this band," and then they know only this song plus a couple of their other big songs. And I'm kind of guilty of that right now. But I just need to listen to more of the discography and just see if there's more hostage songs conspiracies to be had out there. You never know.
More hostage song conspiracies.
But yes, this was a fun experiment to have with you, Steven, and I think this was a very successful uncovering by both of us.
We truly discovered something amazing here. Something that the world needs to know. The world deserves to know.
And for the people listening to this who have never heard the song, nor do they have any interest in it, they just have long lost interest in this part of the episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's about it for this episode. I hope y'all enjoyed, and we will be back soon with another banger for y'all. Isn't that right, Steven?
Of course, as always, every episode that we ever make is a banger.
Mm-hmm.
So
that will be all for y'all. And as always, please like and subscribe for another episode of To Whom It May Concern. Good night, everybody.